I'm sorry.
You don't deserve this steak.
I don't want your
because
money.
the next thing they did was ask for A1 sauce.
Good Lord.
I mean, for real, like that's just. I guess though, like, you know, if you're ordering $1,000 steak, you should just get to pick what it is. But
I know, but you're right. Like,
we
this
have
is a limited quantity.
Daniel, we have principles as Texans, and like we can't let them be offended like that. Like, that's $1,000. Would I pay it for a steak? I would. Howdy, folks. You're listening to the Day Tripper Podcast. My name is Chet Garner. I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Daniel Meese.
What?
The director riding shotgun with me across Texas. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's March 2025. Springtime is not here yet. I feel like
No,
it's freaking cold, man.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is that time of year where, once again, we're going, is it going to be cold? And then you walk outside, it's 20 degrees, and then you put on a sweater, and then you go to work, you come outside, and it's 80.
Yeah, that's
so,
right.
Like, I don't know.
It's all confusing. Like, I was kind of mourning the fact, like, we didn't get a winter. And and then in February, winter came with a vengeance, man.
Boom. We
got like a couple days cold, but like, yeah, February was insanely cold. We're going to talk about what we've been up to this past month. But I want to acknowledge right off the bat, one of the things you've been up to is going back to the 2000s with that haircut, dude. the tight buzz and the blondie.
Oh, man.
That's more than frosty tips.
Oh,
it's going to get frosty tips once it's
yeah.
Like, and please don't cut it once it grows out, because it's just sort of frosted on the end like you're in a boy band.
I got to tell the truth. I started a boy band.
Oh, here it is. I knew you were getting a really good side hustle.
Founding member, and I'm also the only member.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, man.
So what's funny is, like, I'm watching with my girls and Jordan on TV, and some guy had his hair kind of like this, and I was like, I'm gonna do that, and I kind of said it as a joke. And I don't remember how it even happened, but Jordan, my wife, she's like, yeah, right, says something.
Sure.
And the next thing you know, like, she had left one day, and I told Brooklyn, I was like, I'm going to shave my head anyway. I always shave my head.
Sure.
I was like, let's do it and just see what she says. And so my oldest daughter, who's 15, actually helped me do it. To make sure I covered everything.
Did you totally surprise Jordan with it?
So I actually have a video where I set up a camera. I had a beanie on because it was freezing that day. And I had just picked up everybody from school. And so everyone is in the car, and I set a camera up and hit record, and they didn't notice. And I put it on the dash. And so I said, hey, what did I say? I said something about, like, Brooklyn wanted me to have all of us say happy, have a great day, or say something to her.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, random. Okay. And so I go, all right, on the count of 3, we're going to say, hey, Brookie. And then 1, 2, 3, took it off. And they go, what? And then I asked Quinn, my youngest, like, what do you think? And she goes, I hate it. I asked my wife, and she goes, I kind of like it. Hey. I'm like, oh, okay. I was going to shave it, but maybe I'll leave it a little bit.
The bottom line is if the wife likes it, you got to keep it. Like,
I mean, we're going into summer, hopefully.
Oh, man.
But we'll see. I wear a hat a lot.
For those that are listening to the podcast, because this is an audio thing, Daniel's got like a tight buzz, but it's all blonde. Yeah, like bleach blonde, Fred Durst, Linkin Park.
I mean,
he's
the whole back and everything.
It's awesome, dude.
And now
I think it's a good look.
The dark is growing out underneath it.
Yeah, you got to keep it going, and then it'll just be the tips, man. Just be the tips. I've learned though with my girls, like, if I try to like surprise them with a new look, they hate it. Right? So like when
if you shave.
Yeah, I went clean shaven the other day just for the heck of it, because my beard's pretty tight anyway. It'll grow back in a week, and they were like, "What'd you do to your face?"
Daddy, no.
Or like a mustache. They hated the mustache, and I had it for a couple months, and then I was like, "It's time. I'll shave it." And they were like, "What'd you do to the mustache?" I guess they don't like change.
Don't like change.
They like Dad to be the consistent rock solid, rock steady. I know what he's gonna look like. Oh, man.
It's hilarious.
I've come home from shoots in costume before, and it doesn't go well.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I figured at this point they would not be phased at all.
Stop. No, I would like, this is a funny costume. I'll go home dressed as Buddy the Elf. Or that one time for Marble Falls where I had to paint my whole body like a bronze statue. And I was like, I don't want to shower with a water hose at work or something. I'm just going to go home and shower off. But they were home, and I walk in like a bronze statue.
No.
And they just stared at me like I'd fallen fallen out of a dumpster or something. They didn't want to get anywhere near me. Like, Dad, just like, that's weird. Why are you weird, Dad? Like, this is funny.
It's like, this is how I make money for our family.
Yeah,
children.
I know, right? This is how I make a living. Someday you'll be able to use your gifts just like this with the world. Oh, man. Gosh, we've been up to so much since last podcast. We filmed 3 episodes.
Yeah, and
That's
this
a
time
lot.
of year is not common because typically we try to wrap up a season the best we can, right around Christmas time, right before.
Yeah,
Christmas,
like November
Thanksgiving.
we always film, but like filming in January and February is a bad idea.
I hate it, and we know this internally, like why we don't.
Yeah.
The days are short. It's cold. We call it skyria.
Yeah, it's
everything's gray and nasty.
Yeah,
you don't have pretty days.
I know. Although we were just in Katy and like we had one of the most beautiful days that first day.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that it was 17 degrees.
I think we hit a new record on the show.
Oh shoot! Marfa was awful cold. Fort Worth was awful cold. At least for one of the days. This was abusive.
It was
like
rough.
And y'all got to bundle up, and I'm the guy who has to make it seem like it's warm and sunny outside.
It could be any time of year.
But I was holding a pastry and a cup, and then like just trying to act like, it's sunny and 75. And like when I took the coffee out of my hand stayed in a claw position. It was so cold.
I could see it. You dealt with it well.
Oh man,
because I had gloves on. And I was complaining.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I would be like, man, I can't operate. Take the glove off.
Yeah.
And then, nope, put it back on.
It's hard for y'all because you got all the knobs and stuff like that. I don't have to use.
It's
my
hard
hands
to
really
do small little detail things on a camera when your hands are freezing.
So we filmed a Mahia episode.
Yep.
And for those that have no idea where that is, look for Mexia on a map. You'll be like, oh, okay. It's
look for Mexia and then say it right.
And then say it right. Yeah. Mahia. Then we went to Coleman.
Yep.
Kind of like in that northwest hill country, kind of like somewhere on the border between the hill country, big country, West Texas.
I liked Coleman.
Coleman was fun. And then recently, Katy.
Yep.
Abusively cold Katy. Abusively cold. It was super fun though. And we're gonna have those new episodes out in May.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, all y'all. But let's break right here at the front for our podcast sponsor, Don Hewlett Chevrolet. So I've got a big family. You've got a big family too. Like you need a big vehicle.
Yeah.
We just got one of the new Suburbans.
Oh,
dude, and it is a spaceship. They expanded.
I've seen them. They are huge.
They expanded the screen, so literally it's bigger than this laptop screen on the front.
The
dash,
radio
like like GPS.
Yeah, it's not like a radio anymore.
Like
it's
back
like
to a TomTom. Have you remember like when we're old enough? Like you would plug the GPS into your cigarette lighter.
Yeah,
which that's funny.
And it sat on like a sandbag that you could put up on your dash.
Yes, and then it would sit there, and it was this big, and it was neon orange. Mine was like they like barely
colors.
had. I don't think my first one was color. And like it would, turn right on me. But it was like all we had. That was the option where you printed out MapQuest, which would have been about 12 pages of directions.
Yes.
Every page had 5 or 6 turns on it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this thing is as big as a computer screen. You can you multi-screen on it. So you got your music, Spotify, whatever. You got your GPS. You got your dashboard readout for how your tire and coolant system's doing. It's a freaking spaceship, man.
I believe it.
So that's I've driven in Suburban since I was a little kid. This is the best Suburban ever. It's got all kinds of bells and whistles, not to mention it's just like glides across the land. And Don Hewlett Chevrolet has incentives now. So for the people who've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for like inventories to get back up or GM to start offering the incentives that they did before COVID, like now's the time.
It's happening.
It's happening. I think the Suburbans are much cheaper now than they were a couple years ago. So Don Hewlett Chevrolet, go to donhewlett.com. You can learn more about it. All right. Well, let's keep on moving. Now we kind of filled everybody in on what you've been up to. Daniel dyed his hair. We filmed some episodes. Oh, this is one coolest thing that I got to do between now and last podcast. Laura and I went to Waco and stayed in a hotel made completely out of shipping containers.
I saw the pictures. That was so
It's the
cool.
most it's a bougiest hotel.
You wouldn't think,
And it's
when
in
somebody says what it's made of,
A
you're like,
metal
that's
box.
not bougie.
You think, yeah, like shipping containers, you're like, okay, this is going to be like something I would find in Beaumont, you know,
Yeah.
made
That's a Marfa thing.
out by the refineries, or a Marfa thing where you're like, it's minimal and rustic.
Sure.
This was like opulent and over the top. It was awesome. It is called Hotel Herringbone, downtown Waco. So on our patio, I could see the silos. And then the restaurant on site was incredible. Like Waco got bougie.
Yeah.
Because like, we went to dinner Saturday night and the place was packed because Baylor basketball had just played Kansas. So all the Baylor alums are walking out of the stadium into downtown.
Okay.
And working around. I think the silo thing's cooled off though. You can tell.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know, Magnolia craze. I mean, that was a moment. We're still sort of in the moment.
We're always going to be in it, you know, but it's definitely like down from where it was a few years ago.
I mean, like the cupcake place that we went, they had, portable tents with lines winding around and snaking, and you had to wait 45 minutes for a cupcake.
Right.
There was no line, you could go up.
Or the coffee place.
The coffee place, Magnolia Press. Yeah. So it's good. It's still great. It still adds to Waco, but actually like kind of was nice because it wasn't so chaotic.
Wait, what
down
day
there.
was it? It was
We were on a weekend.
though.
Yeah,
Well,
on a
that is
weekend.
impressive.
But it was also like a February weekend. So like that was
Okay. Yeah, summer's
people
gonna
aren't-
change.
Yeah. But it is kind of funny. I remember when you're living in the moment, you're like, this'll never end. This is a fever pitch that like but like all things, they kind of ebb, flow, up, down. Yeah. And I'm not saying Chip and Joanna aren't intentionally letting it cool. It's not like, oh, that's old hat. Like,
no.
They realize these things are cyclical, and whatever. If they want to do something else, they'll do something else and
they've
crush
got a
it.
ton of irons in the fire.
Yeah. It was kind of like, did you see the news? Duck Dynasty's coming back.
I did.
Because there was a period there, 5 years, where Duck Dynasty dominated everything.
Yeah.
And and then it cooled off. And I don't know if the family intentionally was like, we're kind of done, or if it was like pop culture just moved on. And then give it time to go dormant, and then boom, it's coming back. The new generation. Or whatever.
So crazy.
I mean, I was never like a religious watcher of that show. Were you?
I wouldn't say a religious watcher, but I watched many episodes of it. I think kind of like us, you could pick up on any show. You don't have to have watched them all in order.
Yeah.
And those kind of shows help a lot. And I mean, we were even just talking, there's another show that's still on, and I'm like, how in the heck?
We were in the
Swamp
hotel in
People.
Katy, and Swamp People was on TV. I'm like, this show hasn't changed at all.
No.
And people,
I don't even know if it's a new episode or if it's 10 years old. I'm watching it, and I'm kind of like thinking in my head, like, why am I watching this? And then, an hour later, I'm like, I'm still watching this. Like, shoot him! Shoot him!
Shoot him!
No,
And
they're
then
like,
slow
shoot 'em.
motion.
Yeah.
Shoot him! Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
It's-
slow motion over and over and over.
We're still this is it. That's all it is. We're hunting gators. Our show is too complicated, dude.
I know, we got to simplify.
That's right.
Simplify.
Maybe it should just be us talking on imaginary road trips. Just like we go out for 30 minutes and we come back. Well, there it was. I don't know if it's that good.
Maybe this is the new show right here.
I mean, possibly. My
do
goodness. I was amazed to see and glad to see Swamp People was still going on. But like Hotel Herringbone was off the charts good. I will go back. The inside had like all these crazy finishes. There was a green marble hot tub in the middle of the room. It wasn't a hot tub, it was just a tub.
The picture that you posted with that one, you could see Laura in the background, and she's looking like,
this is strange. I mean, the finishes were weird. Like purple tile in the bathroom with turquoise knobs on things with gold. But he's like, I would never live here, but I like visiting places like that.
Sure.
That's easy.
yeah.
All right, guys, let's move on, because while we've been doing stuff, Texas has been too.
While you've been listening to this podcast, lots of stuff's been going on in the Lone Star State. This is Meanwhile in Texas.
All right, Daniel, this is Meanwhile in Texas. What did you find?
Okay. So we like Wagyu steaks. Do we not?
Yeah, that's an understatement.
I mean,
holy moly.
I love steaks, period. I love eating anything off a pit, right?
Yeah.
But Wagyu is something a little different because it has a ton of fat content. The marbleizing is just, it spreads like spider webs. And you look at it and you're like, That is a beautiful piece of meat.
Yeah. Oof.
And I want to eat it.
Just your words, Daniel. Talk marbling to me.
Talk marbling.
It gets my juices flowing.
So there's a place, before we get in trouble here, there's a place in Houston called Mastro Steakhouse.
Okay.
They own a lot of
heard of it.
different places, like other chains and stuff, that the people that own it. They just decided to put out a $1,000 Japanese Wagyu steak.
What? So
$1,000. Well, okay, but here's the thing. It's not just Wagyu. It's actually from a certain region of Japan. This region does not typically export their meat. So it is like an exclusive kind of Wagyu.
wow.
Very, like, not common.
Okay.
And they were able to get, like, 12 steaks at a time, I think, to do this. And so that's one of the reasons it's hard for them to get it.
Let's go eat it.
Dude.
We can business expense that.
Let's business expense it. Let's do it.
As long as we're making content, we write that
I'll make
sucker
that
off.
content.
Yeah. All day.
Kind of crazy. Like, they've already sold like 6 of the 12 that they had whenever the article was written.
Gosh.
And the funny thing, actually, this isn't funny. This is it's cringy, and it's going to make you kind of just do this a little bit. One of the people that ordered it had it cooked medium well.
Oh, no. No, please.
And then they served it with sides of lobster mac and cheese, all these things piled on with it. And
No.
like, what?
The
What?
restaurant has to just say no. I'm sorry. Like when you get $1,000 steak, you don't get to pick how it's cooked. Like
they don't want to do that. Like because I thought the same thing, and then the way that I read it, they're just like, look, you're paying the money, it's your experience, we'll cook it the way you want it. But they do recommend it medium rare.
On principle alone, if someone's going to order it, you say, I'm sorry. You don't deserve this steak.
I don't want your
Because
money.
the next thing they did was ask for A1 sauce.
Good Lord.
I mean, for real, like that's just. I guess though, like if you're ordering $1,000 steak, you should get to pick what it is. But
I know, but you're right. Like
we
this
have
is a limited quantity.
Daniel. We have principles as Texans, and like we can't let them be offended like that. Like that's $1,000. Would I pay it for a steak? I would. If I knew it was going to be the best steak I'd ever had in my life.
And do you think it would be?
No.
I bet. Like I hate saying that. I don't know if it would be the best steak I've ever had.
I don't know.
Also, there's probably a lot of people watching this right now, and they're thinking, "I've had Wagyu; it's not worth it."
Yeah, that's valid.
And I've had Wagyu that I thought was amazing, cooked perfectly, just a little bit of salt. Don't overdo it, and it just the meat itself kind of melts.
Melts. Yeah.
But
yeah.
I've also had some where I was like, "Ooh, that wasn't done as good as it could have been."
Sure.
And you think, man, that was $100 wasted on a little piece of meat.
I know. So it's a toss up. Only
$1,000.
Only one way to find out, Daniel.
I mean, I'm game, but I will only do it if when we sit there, you ask the waiter for some A1. And you can't use it because I'll kill you. But I want to see you do it, and I'm going to record it. Actually, even better, ketchup. Ask for some ketchup.
Oh man, one time we were out filming with Texas Monthly and Coca-Cola, and we were just trying to get a reaction. We were at a barbecue festival.
Yeah.
And so we would go up and talk to these barbecue people. They would give us their meat. And I would say, I can't wait to try this. And I would pull out from my hip pocket ketchup, and I would put it all over the barbecue and try it. And so many of them were just like, and I was like, I'm picking. But I would like eat it in front of them and be like, it kind of tastes like ketchup. Like, let me kind of, I don't know. I don't get it. Okay. So
what did you
here we
find?
Go. I found this because this is one of those only in Texas type stories. So recently in the Fort Worth stockyards, a vehicle was spotted and social media captured it of a man in his truck cruising down the strip with not a dog hanging its head out of his back window, not the bed of the truck. It was a fully grown horse. The horse was in the cab of his truck with its head hanging out the window. Look, I will show you this, and we will play it.
Wait, how does a horse fit in a truck?
I don't know, Daniel, but it's in there. Can you see this?
Oh my gosh!
This horse is cruising through the stockyard. I mean, it's a full-size horse.
Is it a miniature horse?
I don't think so because its butt's on the other side of the back seat. I mean, that is an enormous horse.
Is the horse like sitting down in the truck?
No. I think it's standing up. I'm not sure exactly.
I
was like,
get it.
That's an only in Texas kind of moment. So meanwhile, in Texas, in the stockyards, some of the people were like, "Oh, that's not a horse. That's his date." Like,
ouch.
That's good.
Why
and
the
then
long
this was
face?
another one. It must be his, support service horse that he brings around into restaurants. And so it got me thinking. I was like, can we have horses as support animals that we can force restaurants to let us in with? Because this happened to us recently. You were there. We were in Coleman, and we encountered a lady who was bringing her pet kangaroo around.
We did.
She owned one of the restaurants, and she brought her pet kangaroo with her to
Yeah.
work that day. I was
Had a diaper
Had a
on.
diaper on. A pet kangaroo. And then we were just in Katy, and remember what was at the brewery?
A ringtail lemur.
A lemur. It's like, what the heck is happening?
That's like a Madagascar animal, isn't it? Like,
yes, and it
you
was
get
sitting at a
ringtail
brewery
lemur.
in a dress with pearls on, which I thought was
It
kind
had
of weird.
pearls.
But I was like, okay, what can we have as service animal? Can I have a service lemur that I bring around?
I mean,
because it was
can you?
pretty cool. So here he goes. This is according to the Texas Office of the Governor. Under the ADA Title 2 and 3, a service animal must be a dog, open parentheses, or miniature horse that is trained to do work, perform tasks, and benefit the individual.
Okay, wait, hold on. You're talking about a service animal versus an emotional support animal. Those are two different things. So a service animal,
Yeah, you're probably right.
You can actually bring in somewhere because it has to have the certain certifications.
Well, this says it can be trained by the handler themselves. Wait. Maybe that's a handler that is bringing it along for the service. No. If I'm like blind and I need a dog, I'm the handler.
Yes,
I
but
guess I could train it.
So that dog would be a service animal
Not
versus
a emotional support animal.
I think you could probably have whatever you want, but the only benefit you have with an emotional support animal is like it can't be turned away if you live in like an apartment or something.
Okay, can you bring them on planes?
Now, I think that's up to the rules of the planes.
Okay.
People were doing that crazy stuff for a long time.
Yeah. Here's my pig.
I don't
Here's
think
my
you
emotional
can.
support pig.
I don't think you can take them. I think places can still deny it unless it's a service animal.
Okay.
Emotional support, though, is kind of...
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like
That's where it got crazy.
a little frou-frou.
Yeah.
Well, this dude had an
Not that
emotional
people,
support horse.
People can have it. Some people need that.
But for sure.
But
The rules are a little dim.
yes.
They're a little blurry. Okay. Anyway, I thought
A
that was
horse.
hilarious. I can't wait to see a horse driving around the back of a truck.
I mean,
Maybe it was modified, like customized for his
like
horse.
it went lower inside than you thought.
It's a 1,000-pound animal.
That is- Yeah, that's got to be way too heavy to put in a truck.
I don't know.
Even if it was in the bed of
know.
a truck, that's a very
It's a lot
heavy.
This truck wasn't sagging. It was a GMC. It's hilarious.
Imagine if it was a Don Hewlett Chevrolet.
I know that thing would have been bouncing hydraulics. No, I mean the truck. It's awesome. We'll play the video.
Yeah, I got to share that. That's
yeah.
amazing.
We'll put the video in the caption as well of the podcast. All right, let's take a moment now. People have liked this. Our Texas history of the month.
Teach me something.
So we are in March, which for those in Texas who know, March is the great month of Texas history because on March 2nd, we
We gained our independence as a
declared
state.
independence. I'm proud of you, Daniel.
Hey, I learned
know-
something
I know.
after 10 or so years working with you.
Very good. So, all right, here we go, guys. March 2nd, 1836 will forever be known as Texas Independence Day. Okay, because on this day, 59 gentlemen representing the different settlements of Texas gathered together at Washington on the Brazos. They were both Anglo and Hispanic settlers who came together to basically review what was all happening in Tejas and decide where it was going to go. They were talking for a number of days. They were getting reports about the siege that was going on at the Alamo because this was happening simultaneously. And after 17 days of meeting, they emerged with a Declaration of Independence, a newly ratified Constitution, and newly elected officers. So they talked for a few days. They basically were like, yeah, we got to declare independence. They gave a committee. They gave a few guys like, hey, y'all draft a Declaration of Independence. And a guy named George Childress was basically like, oh, one exactly like this? He pulled one out. He had already written it. They knew what they were getting together to do.
Yeah.
And so 59 gentlemen signed, including Sam Houston, Antonio Navarro, Lorenzo de Zavala, Thomas Rusk, and truthfully, it reads like our county list. But there were 5 originals made. We only have 1 copy left. It is now in Austin in the archives. And if you read it, it lists out 15 grievances that the Texas had against Mexico. So when they had been when the settlers had been convinced to move to Texas, they were told this is a democratic republic. It functions very much like the United States. And by the time the revolution came about, Santa Anna had basically eliminated Congress and declared himself dictator. The country was no longer operating by the 1824 Constitution of Mexico. They had thrown that thing out the window. And if you read it, there are 15 grievances listed, basically that says you've turned Mexico into a dictatorship. You've sent the military to occupy our communities. They go around and they oppress us without any reason. They were taking away all their weapons and guns. Mm-hmm. They were confiscating their arms. They're encouraging, this was kind of interesting when you read it, they were encouraging the native Indians to attack the settlements.
Oh, wow.
With tomahawks and scalping knives. That's what the Constitution says.
Wow.
Like, they had taken away their right to a trial by jury. They were committing piracy against the towns on the ports. And it goes on and on and on. And so on March 2nd, 1836, after years of oppression, they finally decided it's time to form the new Republic of Texas.
And for that brief moment, we were a country.
We were a country.
Yeah,
I mean, we were a country until 1845 when we got Big Brother United States to come along, take us in. Because basically, even though we had declared independence, we won our independence. Mexico never officially recognized it. And so we were fighting with Mexico for a full decade after we declared independence.
Right.
Because they were like, nah, y'all are, this revolution's nice, but y'all are still part of Mexico. And the only way we settled it was basically getting the United States of America to come in and help us fight back. So we did become a state later on in 1845. But for those years, we were the sovereign, independent nation of Texas. Maybe someday we'll go back.
I don't know. I kind of like to feel like we already are a country.
I know. Right.
I mean, hey, the cool thing about the U.S. is everybody keeps their own identity. At least that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Not every state is supposed to be the same. You're supposed to be we're the United States. We're a union of different states.
That's true.
Under one blanket of an agreement that we're all together. But that doesn't mean you're all the same.
No.
So I still feel, Texas is huge. We are a country.
We do. We have our own nation in our minds, at least.
In our minds.
In our hearts and minds, we are our own country to this day. But you guys, go out there, celebrate Texas Independence Day, do it safely, and learn a little bit about March, which is Texas Independence Month. We got the Siege of the Alamo, the Fall of the Alamo, the Runaway Scrape, all culminating in San Jacinto, but that happens in April. Yep. So, a lot to learn in the month of March.
Big month.
All right, guys, let's jump ahead. The Texas Music Minute. All right. So, I was trying to think of super groups, Daniel.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Okay. Like we're talking about music here. The greatest super groups of all time.
So, give an example of a super group.
A super group being people who are independently famous, but they get together for maybe an album or longer.
So
like
what was the group with Willie Nelson and
the Highwaymen?
The Highwaymen.
That's a great one. So Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, Waylon Jennings, and Johnny Cash.
Yes, thank you.
The Highwaymen. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. I'm looking right now. Mm-hmm. This lists Led Zeppelin as a super group. They weren't really. They were their own band. I think you've got to have sort of a career.
Everybody
a
stands alone on their
notable
own
career outside of that before. Let me think. I'm looking through. I meant to look this up before. Them Crooked Vultures was fun because you had Dave Grohl and some other guy. I'm forgetting who it was. Alex, who was Them Crooked Vultures?
It was Dave Grohl.
Josh Home.
Queens of the Stone Age.
There you go.
And John Paul and Joel's from Led Zeppelin.
Oh, from Led Zeppelin. That's right.
We were just yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Here we go. The Traveling Wilburys. That was George Harrison, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, and Jeff Lynne. They were
I
epic.
Forgot about that.
They were absolutely epic. And then Temple of the Dog was Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder. So basically, a lot of people, Stone Gossard, a lot of people from Pearl Jam who went and joined that. Anyway, we now have our very own modern day Texas supergroup.
Okay.
Some people may feel differently about it, but I disagree. So there was a group back in the 70s and 80s called the Flatlanders. That was a super group. That was Joe Ely, Jimmy Dale Gilmore, and Butch Hancock. But now 4 of our Texas country artists that all have their own big careers got together. They're called the Panhandlers.
Okay.
It is Cleto Cordero of Flatland Cavalry.
Yeah.
Josh Abbott of the Josh Abbott Band.
Band.
You got William Clark Green, who's had his own big career, and John Bowman. Anyway, they've gotten together to write an album that is basically their love letters to West Texas because they're all from West Texas and the Panhandle. So here we go. This is what Cleto says. It's storytelling music. Songs are vignettes of West Texas life, but when you put them together, they make a mosaic. Honky-tonk songs, folk country songs to sing around the campfire. He said, this is Cleto. I'm from Midland, and I'm used to this sense of like barrenness and nothingness, but I've learned there's beauty about that. And so the songs reflect that imagery, spirit. A California record would be about sunshine and beautiful people in sunglasses, but that's not what we've made. We've made a West Texas record.
I like that.
Yeah, you might have heard this song. It's their biggest song off the album, although I will say the whole album is good. And they're coming to two-step in April. But this is their first hit off the album, West Texas in My Eye.
Lately I've been thinking that I could leave this town, cut back on my drinking, stop this running around, playing songs till after midnight, staying up till dawn. There's something in the dust and wind that keeps me hanging on, and I never thought I'd live to see the day I'd say goodbye. I ain't crying, that's West Texas in my eye.
I'll be your blue-eyed bandit if you'll be my renegade. I count 1,000 tumbleweeds roll by me every day. I'd like to grow a rose and stow it in that desert sage, like a message in a bottle floating down the open plains, where the auto estacado rises up to meet the sky. I ain't crying, that's West Texas in my eye.
I've seen the thunderheads descend and rip into the ground.
All right.
I like it.
I like it. Every lyric is about West Texas.
And then also you listen to the instruments and just the actual music of it. It captures the aesthetic of driving in West Texas, the simplicity. You don't hear crazy, rock in the background, something electric guitar. It's just acoustic.
Yeah.
A little bit of a shaker. And then their voices, I feel like all of them have that voice that matches that style. So that's cool.
It's very good. The album's awesome. But like Cleto's line there about like, I've seen the thunderheads descend. When you live out on the flat parts of Texas or you travel and you can literally see, I don't know, maybe 50 miles and then into the sky, you see those giant thunderclouds that come down. Like that's something you don't get in the city.
Yeah.
You've got to have that open desert land. And so they've done a really good job. I'm excited about seeing them. I was just at a Rudy's event with William Clark Green where we were judging these guys, like the best cutters in the country for Rudy's Barbecue had come to Austin for a contest. And William and I were the judges because they all put out these things. How do you Rudy's? This is a total random rabbit trail. But like every cutter, they work at Rudy's, so they get bored like As you get, like as anybody would. So they started throwing ingredients together.
Okay.
And so they brought us their favorite creations that they can eat when they don't want to just have brisket or something like that.
Okay.
They were darn good.
Really?
Like some of them were like sandwiches with green chili on it, or pork loin with the salsa, or we get the verde salsa, like
And
a
it
whole
was all
bunch of
Rudy's ingredients.
Any things that any of us could just get at Rudy's.
Yeah.
But they were all spun and mishmashed in weird
Wow.
places. So like one guy got I think the guy who won, he gets the chicken, pulls it apart, puts it on a bun, then gets the potato salad. So pulled chicken, potato salad, maybe one of the verde taco salsa from the morning that they always have.
Yeah.
And then gets a bun, but asks them to melt cheese on it. Like, so they can make you like a grilled cheese in the back. I didn't know that.
What?
Like, yeah, it was delicious.
Oh, man.
So anyway, William and I were there, like, just goofing off, judging all this stuff. It was a blast. So, all right, guys, we got a mid-podcast sponsor here for you, the Collin County History Museum. So this March, they're inviting y'all to Collin County. Remember, it's in the old post office. It's awesome. They have a pop-up exhibit called Her Story in celebration of Women's History Month. The exhibit will highlight the diverse, impactful roles women in various fields have had, including the military, arts, education, and service industry. They showcase incredible women and their local contributions to Collin County. And then at the end of March, they will also be unveiling an entirely new wing to their museum that'll highlight even more of their local heritage and history. So y'all make sure to mark it on your calendar. Go out sometime. It's a free museum, open every Saturday from 10 to 4. They do private tours by appointment. You can learn more at collincountyhistorymuseum.org. McKinney is fun. Sounds like a good time. All right, guys. So now, questions from the back seat.
Are we there yet?
Hey, can you pass me the snacks?
When are we gonna stop? I gotta go.
Okay, we have a few questions. This was one that I get quite a bit, so I put it up there. It said, this is from Jack Halliburton. Is Chet a member of the Sons of the Republic of Texas? Thanks for reminding us how wonderful Texas is, ... Best regards to the day tripper. So he wants to know if I'm in the SRT. No, I am not, sadly. I'm an honorary member.
I was going to say honorary.
But I could be. It's just a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
So
I thought I remembered somebody saying they'll help you with all the paperwork.
I know. Well, Kyle Jones, our good buddy who comes by all the time, he heads up the Bryan College Station chapter, and he's like, Chet, I'll do it. It takes like a full afternoon. You gotta dig. You gotta get.
It has to be proven.
Yes, you gotta
That's
get
the big
birth
thing.
certificates, death certificates, all that
night.
stuff. It just sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
I want to do it though. I could be. My 4 great grandfather fought in the Revolution,
So
I just got to do the paperwork. So
do the paperwork.
someone just please do it for me. Will you come? Just come over.
it for me.
I'm just kidding. Sound like the punk in your history class. I don't want to do it. Do it for me.
can you do my homework for
I
me
know.
so I can take the credit?
But Kyle wants to help me get all the paperwork in order. It's just going to take a while.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked into your genealogy? Like how long?
I have. So I think I am the 4th generation in Texas.
Cool.
4th. I think 5th and beyond, it was traveling here.
Okay.
So I think that because I go back into like Missouri and Mississippi.
Okay.
But yeah. And
Fourth, you're the 4th. That probably puts them here about what, 1850s, 60s, something like that?
I think so.
Late 1800s, maybe?
I think so.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely go back in Texas, and I was born here, and this is all I know. So,
Yeah. Born here, been buried here.
But I don't know if I could be a member. I don't know if I'd be a member.
I don't even know if I can be a member. I think I can. So someone's gonna check that out for me. Wink, wink. Maybe we can have them on the podcast. We're like, hey, here's how you do this thing, because I know we have a lot of people on the podcast or who listen that would probably qualify.
Yeah,
but don't really know
explain
how it goes.
a little bit the benefit and what it is.
Yeah, so Sons of the Republic of Texas. There's also the DRT, Daughters of the Republic of Texas. It's the direct descendants of people who lived here when Texas was a republic. So the reason I pulled this in is also March is the month we declared independence. So if you can trace your family history back, and your people were here during the Revolution or the Republic, I guess. I don't even know if they had to fight in the Revolution, if they were just here during the Republic period,
Right.
then you can become a member. And it's basically a Texas History and Heritage Society. So you get together and pat each other on the back, and you talk about Texas history. I've gone to some lectures from SRT before, and they're always interesting. It's people who have an affinity for Texas and who are just Texas proud.
Yep.
So it's a good thing. It's a worthwhile thing to do. I guess just need to do it as with a lot of other stuff in life. All right. Hey, so here's another Texas history question. This came from Heather. Don't know her last name. She said she drove through Hearn recently, which is north of Bryan College Station, and found out there was once a World War II POW camp there, but it is now a museum. That's true. Could you do a video on the history of Texas and how the state impacted World War II?
Whoa.
That'd be kind of a neat little thing.
Yeah.
So we've told these stories before, but of course we're not a documentary television show. All of our stories focus on one town. And so if only thing that town had going for it was World War II history, then I guess we could, but we like to tell a bigger story.
Right.
And then we've done a few like road trip episodes that are more thematic. But I did think, this is interesting because we have kind of talked about it. We've danced around it. We've never like really dug into one of them. And I think this Hearn Museum would be a great place.
Yeah.
So I looked, this is kind of crazy. At the end of World War II, Texas held 78,900. So roughly 80,000 enemy prisoners in Texas.
Whoa.
They were mainly German, but there were also Italian and Japanese. We had 14 different military POW camps across the state.
Wow.
So we were taking POWs, put them on a boat, ship them over here, and then they lived in our towns.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, so the POW camps, I mean, were they like set up specifically for that?
Yeah.
Or were they
Yeah.
towns?
No. They were usually encampments outside of towns.
Okay.
That these German or Japanese or Italian POWs would live at until the war was over.
Yeah.
At which point we sent them back.
I wonder if we have
Right.
anything left of any of these.
The
camps.
one in Hearn is a pretty good one.
Like they actually have something from the original POW camp.
I believe
itself
so.
there.
Now most of them were just wooden buildings.
Right.
And of course, our POW camps way different than like say German concentration camps or Vietnamese, the POW camps of the Vietnam era. A lot of the people who came over to our POW camps, like we gave them tremendous freedoms, like almost unfathomable freedoms. So like the Germans in Brownwood, we learned they got time off the base and they could go out to movies. Sometimes they like had girlfriends and they fell in love, got married and stuck around.
As a POW.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Wow.
wild.
Wow.
We gave them tremendous amounts of freedom. Now they were still prisoners, but they weren't prisoners in the sense that we think of it today.
Yeah.
So they would go out to the movies or dance halls, things
That's
like that.
crazy.
Isn't that wild?
That's crazy. And especially with the huge German heritage that we have in Texas.
Yeah.
I wonder if a ton of that also came through that as well.
Maybe. I mean, maybe some of it was added to,
Right.
That like it's possible, but like we talked about this in Brownwood and then in Palacios, which both had big military installations that kept POWs, and you just like hear the stories. You're like, what? We let them go out dancing?
I know, that's crazy.
Well, it's like they weren't gonna swim back over to Germany, So I don't know. It's kind of crazy. So we need to go and dig a little deeper.
Yeah, that needs some some
explanation. So, okay, another question. This comes from Heather Marie Horn. Chet, what's the best paleo restaurant in Texas?
Oh boy.
And I was, okay, so this is the reason I put this on. It's like, isn't every barbecue joint paleo? I mean, like, paleo is just eating meat. Am I right? You know more about this stuff than me.
I mean, if you're on a carnivore diet, it would be only meat. I
think paleos eat more than that?
Don't they also have like maybe nuts or something? I don't know.
Oh, okay. Quinoa? Can a paleo eat?
I don't think that is.
Is it? So it's the diet of people from the Paleolithic era.
I think so.
So
Which
they
would
can eat
be-
dinosaurs.
You could eat
You
the
get
meat,
woolly mammoth.
and you could eat the things that you would scavenge for.
Okay, so
I'm pretty
nuts,
sure-
like rustic grain.
Everybody tell me that I'm wrong if I'm wrong,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think that might be what it is.
but it definitely included meat.
It is definitely
So
neat.
just pick your favorite
go to a
barbecue joint,
place.
knock it out.
Ask for an avocado.
Is there like a specific paleo restaurants, or is
I don't know.
and what does that even look like? Gosh, we're so ignorant.
That's like a diet. I feel like you wouldn't go to a keto restaurant. You would be on a keto diet and know what to pick at a restaurant.
Right?
I feel like that.
Here we go. Paleo restaurants. Okay. So this is what we're learning here. It's a lot of Whole30 stuff. So it aligns with paleo and Whole30. This just looks like eggs, quiche, salad.
So it's a restaurant.
Okay.
It's a normal restaurant.
Kavasa flour, Brussels sprouts, lamb chops. There's a restaurant called Picnic in Austin. I guess that's paleo. We need to figure that out because I was under the assumptions like, hey, any barbecue joint's paleo because just go eat meat, you know? But I guess we're ignorant and stupid.
Yeah.
So
sounds about right.
We need to learn more about it.
I don't know. Why did you ask me? I don't know nothing.
Hey, so here we go. This is now we're going to transition into the segment of the show where we just have people tell us we're ignorant and stupid.
Perfect.
All right. It's fan rants and musings.
Hey, Day Tripper, I got a bone to pick with you.
Oh my goodness, it's the Day Tripper. We love your show.
So we recently did a Plano episode.
Yes.
And
I
turns
know where
out
this is going.
everyone, the 10 people who live in Parker, Texas were super mad at us because we were doing a Plano episode and we said that the South Fork Ranch is in Plano.
Actually,
the South Fork Ranch is the famous.
It was just in our Plano episode.
It was in our Plano episode. I mean, I did say like, I can't believe this is in Plano. I did say stuff like that. And like it's just outside of Plano, but it's not technically Plano. It's Parker. And so Brenda Boyd let us know, we love the show, but you said South Fork Ranch was in Plano. It's in Parker, where we live, not far from my great-great-grandfather, where he settled in 1845. Get your facts straight, Day Tripper. Alan Rubenstein, I've got to be the 5,000th person to tell you, how could you not know? It's in Parker, not Plano. And then somebody else, Red Benson, just says South Fork's Parker, Texas. So we upset the 10 people who live in Parker.
Yeah.
Now we're upsetting them more.
That is the exact reason that we put it in our Plano episode, because we're not going to do a Parker episode, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll never do a Parker episode.
And how horrible would it be if that means we never do South Fork Ranch?
Yeah. Okay, there's 6,000 people in Parker. But like for where it is in the middle of the DFW Metroplex, that's actually quite very small. And we had to include it. There's not much else in Parker, to my knowledge.
There are things there, but to build out a decent episode, I think at this point it would be tough. But who knows? Maybe 10 or 20 years from now, if we're still doing this, could be a Parker episode.
Parker, Texas episode.
And by then, South Fork will be something different, and we'll go back and check it out.
Yeah. That's true. We can. Okay, so here's some good ones. This came from Sharon Lee, who watched our Karnes County episode, and she said we saw the episode. We saw the sausage factory you featured, Pollock's, and they said, we found the sausage that you ate in Falls City at the Victoria HEB. We've lived in Texas for over 50 years, and my husband, Jack, says, hands down, this is the best sausage he's ever had.
Wow.
Okay. Well, very good. Thank you for showcasing this.
All right.
So we featured a sausage factory, makes authentic Texas Polish sausage, but they only distribute in places they can personally deliver it to.
Yeah.
So not a very far radius. Like DFW, you're out of luck. Austin, I think we're out of luck.
Yep.
San Antonio, Corpus area, Victoria, evidently, and that's it. All right, and here we go. And our last bits of feedback. This was this is on more of a serious note, but I did want to bring it up because I'm thankful, full of gratitude. People saw our Jasper episode, and it sounds like we hit the mark, Daniel, which is good.
Yes, absolutely,
which is good. So in our Jasper episode, we decided we had to talk about the horrible killing of James Byrd Jr. But we had to do it with
with grace,
class, delicately, because it's a very emotions still run very high with that story. And for those that don't know, it was a horrible racially motivated death of a black man in Jasper by 3 white supremacists, and it got a lot of national publicity. people only thought about Jasper because of this thing. And so a lot of folks had said, I will never go to Jasper, never support Jasper. And we thought, we need to talk about it because it was so well publicized and known. But also we want to make sure that the whole city of Jasper isn't branded, that they participated, that they're all a bunch of, racist murderers. That's just not the case at all. And we need to help Jasper and the people of Jasper. So we had some really good feedback come in. Lisa Buster said, I always watch it religiously, but I canceled this episode on principle in protest for the bird atrocity. However, your post has opened my heart. And so I now intend to go to Jasper. One bad apple doesn't spoil the whole bunch. Shame on me. And I will go pay my respects just like you did. Good bull, Chet. That's pretty cool. Chuck Merlot said, I've never been in a hurry to go to Jasper, never wanted to visit, but after the episode, the town and its residents and businesses deserve a chance. Yeah. And these came through for a couple African-American black viewers. Callie Blue says, I've watched The Day Tripper for years. I saw Jasper being featured, and I wanted to turn off the channel because that's all I remembered about the city. However, I didn't, and I continue to watch. I'm glad I did. You did an amazing job, great job navigating the complex water of what most of us remember Jasper for, but it showed the other side. Much respect, and vaya con Dios, amigos. And then another one of our black viewers, Stephanie Davis, she said, I'm still shedding tears from your strength and humanity by honoring James Byrd. Thanks so much for the moving piece. It was awesome. It made me feel good because it was such a minefield to navigate.
We put a lot of time and thought into figuring the best way to go about every aspect of it.
Yeah.
And not for any reason other than just make sure that everything was represented the way it deserved to be represented.
Yeah.
And most of all, I think we both learned while we were there, especially, they said it best, the guy at the museum that we talked to, Todd, Jasper did not kill James Byrd Jr. It was those three men, those three animals.
Yeah.
And it's horrible that now the city is paying for the sins of those guys. And I think that things are going to change.
Hope so.
It's a great town with a lot of great things to do, and everybody should give it a shot. Go check it out. There's black owned businesses. Yeah. There's lots of things to do, lots of places to eat, amazing food we had.
Yeah. Wonderful people there.
Great people.
The city itself is incredibly diverse, and we heard nothing but glowing love for the city from both the white community and the black community. They're very proud to be from Jasper, and it should definitely not just be thrown out like I will never go there if I'm black. That's an unsafe city, or if if you're white, you don't want to support racism. It's like
I think that's another thing people have thought over time. It's like, I'm white, but I'm not going to support anything that has to do with that, so I'm not going there. So it's been on both sides that people are just confused because it's a stereotype,
right?
And it's something that has just kind of kept going over time. So time to kill it.
That's
time to kill the stereotype.
Yep. So anyway, that was good feedback we got, and very touching because thank you for helping make that episode so great. We spent a lot of time.
You and I did an amazing job. Everything you said at James Byrd Jr.'s gravesite, as I was starting to tear up listening to you, and you did not write that out beforehand. That was something that came from your heart, and I think everybody watching can feel it. Well, and it's how a lot of us feel. So it was great.
Well, thank you. Takes a team, man.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank you all for listening to the podcast. Thank you to our sponsors, Don Hewlett Chevrolet, the Collin County Museum. We will be back next month. Actually, we're going to be back mid-month with a little preview of the two-step in. So stay tuned on that. And join us next time. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. Thank you to our producer, Alex Fort, over here on the Mix Master, General on the turntables.
On the turntables. He's over here just mixing like a DJ.
Yeah. All right, man. Say your goodbyes, Dan.
All right. Adios.
And vaya con Dios, amigos.